Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. It is week 17, final week of the regular season. Before us, the 2020 NFL regular season. Smokey, how are you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm better than the Steelers right now.
We'll get into that. We'll talk about that. How are we doing in terms of our points?
Man, I was so hoping I was gonna pass you last week, but
Same.
As it turns out, we disagreed on 4 and split those, so we ended up with 11 correct picks each, bringing the total to 159.5 for me and 160.5 for you. So
that's acceptable.
This will be the week that I pass you, though, because it's the last week of the season. I got to go ahead and get the win.
It better be the week because it is the last week. Now, I hope that it's going to be it is going to be a close one. I hope that I'm still going to win it, but I will announce this, and I will say this. I was actually going to ask you this. How about we each of us goes first on half the games? Because if we happen to agree on all the games, I don't want to be the one responsible for it and being called boring because I'm taking my 1-game win. So how about we alternate going first today?
Yeah, see, I was actually going to ask you right before we started to go first. So that works perfectly.
So we're going to make sure we do that here. It's close. It's almost a tiebreaker. So
yes.
We'll do that. For some betting advice, stay tuned to the end of the show. I got today I got only one bet, but it's going to be a big money bet. This is going to be a big one. As for the final week, we got something special. Let's get into predictions here.
All right.
I'll start with the first game, and I'm sure you'll have something to say about it now and probably next week as well. Falcons at the Bucks.
Falcons at the Bucks. Man, this was actually tough picking it because I'm assuming, by all means you should pick the Bucks here, of course, because the Bucks are 10 and 5 right now, and the Falcons only have 4 wins on the season, and the Falcons should be tanking, and I think they will, so I'm definitely gonna pick the Bucks here. But I'll tell you this, after watching the last few games, I think the Falcons could actually beat the Bucks if they really wanted to. The problem is I don't think they want to because they need a high draft pick at this point. There's no reason to win this game. The Bucks have a reason to win this game because Tom Brady has to be in the playoffs. We can't have a playoff without Tom Brady. So Bucks at home here.
I will have to agree with that one. The Falcons have no legitimate reason other than it's a divisional game. You want to play spoiler, you want to beat your divisional rivals at all times, but pragmatically speaking, the Bucks have a reason to play for it. Falcons not so much, and with that, I don't think that Tampa Bay is going to rest anyone here. I don't think Atlanta's necessarily going to rest a lot of people, but Buccaneers should win the game. So I'm going to go first on the next one. We have the Dallas Cowboys at the Giants. Divisional match, and super important divisional match at that. This is gonna be big time, as we still don't have a winner in this division. We still don't have anyone who's allowed to go to the playoffs and lose terribly in the first round. I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys here because I think so far over the last few weeks they've been getting better and better. They've hit the high, their season high at the exact right moment, which is towards the end of the season, beat the Eagles, and I think they're going to get it done. They're going to get it done at New York. Don't have their own playoff fate in their own hands because Washington needs to lose for that to happen, but I think they'll do their part and win at the Giants.
I'm going to agree with that, man. As we saw last week, the Cowboys can beat their division rivals, and pretty handily. At the first of that game, I thought it was going to get out of hand. The Eagles were taking control, and Jalen Hurts looked like $1 million, but he did absolutely nothing in the second half, and it was like a train. The Red Rifle there just kept rolling along and eventually took over that game and mollywopped them in the end. Now, if Danny Dimes comes back, it'll probably be a closer game, and I would like to see that, but all in all, I got to pick the Cowboys here just to be safe.
I'd love to see the Giants win. I don't really believe in it just yet. And yeah, Andy Dalton, listen, Andy Dalton is decent. He's always been a decent quarterback. That's I know that
Mediocre.
we've always made. Yeah, he's mediocre. He's always been the Andy Dalton line. Has always been a thing, and still is. So he can take a mediocre team to a mediocre playoff spot in the right circumstances. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, your time to go first. We have the Jets at the Patriots.
Man. Now, if you would have said at any point in the season, or especially any point last season, that this is actually a tough game to pick, then somebody would have called you an idiot. Like, this is probably one of the weirdest scenarios I've ever seen play out right here. But the Patriots are awful. Cam Newton is horrible. I don't think Cam Newton has a job next season unless it's a backup somewhere. You know, maybe he'll be back up to Jalen Hurts. Who knows? The Jets are on a win streak. As weird as that sounds after losing 13-plus games, if you go back to last year. Dude, this is crazy. I'm going to go with the Patriots just because the defense is much better, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets win this game.
Okay, I have a rhetorical question here. How good do the Jets have to look in this game for Adam Gase to remain their head coach?
Oh my God, I don't think it's possible. Okay,
3-game win streak to close the season, including New England, at New England?
Maybe if the Jets win, like a giant 35-40 point spread, maybe.
Maybe. I doubt it myself. I don't think he should.
Yeah.
He should definitely not be the coach. Or you want to get anyone competent in the building. There's probably, I could probably name 10 coordinators in the league right now that I would prefer as head coaches over Adam Gase. So it should tell you the whole story. I will also. Did you make your pick actually?
Yeah, I took the Patriots.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I will also take the Patriots. Maybe more out of inertia than anything else because it's the Patriots and they're playing as the Jets. So you kind of have it's just reflexively you know exactly what to do here. But this could be a little bit of a turning point. Another one here. The Patriots could go out of the season being swept by their division. Miami, Buffalo, and now the Jets. Don't think it'll happen, but the possibility is there. So. It might be that we can actually say this. It might, the dynasty, the dominance might be over because this division has gotten good. It took them 20 years, but this division has finally gotten good. Outside of New England, that is. So, still have the Patriots to win this one. Wouldn't be surprised by anything, though. Next one, got the Vikings at the Lions. It's my turn to go first here. Another divisional game with not much, actually nothing on the line, really, because both these teams are eliminated from playoff contention, and you also happen to win the record bet as the Vikings now have 9 losses. We took the over/under on 8-8, so you won that one. I will still say they're going to beat the Lions. This is a better team. Matthew Stafford probably not even going to play. There's no reason for anything here because Detroit's big time in a rebuild. They might be picking a quarterback next year, and the Vikings are just a better team. They're not contending for the playoffs, but they're just a higher quality team, so they should win the game.
I can't disagree with that. I'm looking for places where I can get some wins in over you, but so far, I have to go with the Vikings. The Lions look extremely horrible, and we might see Chase Daniel back under quarterback there. I don't know, man. This is a divisional game, so I want to say it might be closer, but the Vikings, you know, they're all around just a better team right now. And if Matt Stafford was definitely playing, which I don't think he is, I would probably lean more toward the Lions, but I think I'd still go with the Vikings. So I got to go with the Vikings here.
Steelers at the Browns.
Steelers at the Browns. Now, another backup quarterback is in, obviously, and Mason Rudolph is going to be starting this game. And that's funny considering what we saw Mason Rudolph do last year. Him and Devlin Hodges completely destroyed the Steelers, and they had one of their worst seasons in recent memory that I can remember, at least, because the Steelers are always a playoff team, you know, no matter what. And those two guys just took them into oblivion. The Browns are coming off a horrible loss. Like that wasn't good. It's not what I expected to see, but I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up to the wide receivers, all of them being on the COVID list and not playing. I mean, they had tight ends out there, and I'm assuming they're going to be back for this game. And considering the run that the Steelers have been on and the Browns the run they were on before the COVID incident, I got to go with the Browns here at home.
Okay. I'll tell a little bit of a story here leading into my pick, right? So we all remember what happened last year when the Steelers played the Browns, and Mason Rudolph coincidentally happened to start. He had a horrible game. He played terrible for 55 minutes. And then something happened that two people will always be remembered for. We had the helmet incident with Myles Garrett ripping off Mason Rudolph's helmet and then smacking him over the head with it with full force, which got him suspended for the rest of the season. Way too low of a punishment, in my opinion. He should not be playing, but he is playing, and so is Mason Rudolph. And here's the wonderful poetic justice that is unfolding in front of us here. I kind of hinted at something like this last week when I said how the Niners were going to beat the Cardinals and everything is right because it helps me win my bets, and now it'll be justice. This is the pinnacle, and this game single-handedly could redeem the entire year of 2020. Anything that happened in 2020, football and outside of football, this game can redeem it all. If the Steelers win this game, the Browns miss the playoffs, and at the same time, the Dolphins make the playoffs in the AFC. Welcome, guys. Mason Rudolph comes back, puts up 400 yards on Myles Garrett, 5 touchdowns. Steelers take it over the Cleveland Browns. Browns are forever devastated, and they will never live this down. If they lose to Mason Rudolph and miss the playoffs, which would be the best thing to ever happen, by the way.
Oh, that would be a Browns thing to happen for sure.
I would love to see this happen. I have no love for the Browns after the last few years, especially since that incident. So this could be the best thing all season. Which has been a tough season for me personally because I expected my Niners to do better, but that didn't happen due to injuries. I will pick the Steelers. I absolutely pick the Steelers because it is lining up too perfectly for it not to happen. Today, this weekend, by the way, we find out, which is something you've been talking about, if we do truly live in a simulation. Because anyone running that simulation would not pass up this opportunity of letting the Steelers lose this game.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I have the Steelers. I absolutely have the Steelers. Cannot wait to see this. Could be the best day of the year. Ravens at the Bengals, and this is mine to go first. And since the Bengals refused to start Ryan Finley, should have done that last week, didn't. They don't have the superpower of the Finley on their side. I'm assuming he's not going to start because Brandon Allen actually did decently well. They're going to lose to Baltimore because Baltimore's a better team. Without Joe Burrow, without Ryan Finley, the Bengals aren't going to win. So just out of spite, I would never pick the Bengals here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Bengals are on a little run considering, what they have been doing. But, they're definitely not winning this. The Ravens are on fire right now. The Ravens look like they did in the regular season last season over these past 3 games. Lamar Jackson is back to being Lamar Jackson. The defense is great. Everybody's on point. I mean, even Hollywood Brown looks great. Oh, even Dez Bryant. Who would have thought in 2020 we would be talking about Dez Bryant just had a 2-touchdown game, But here we are. It's 2020 for sure. The Ravens are going to win this by a blowout, probably.
Easy pick. We have the Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, man. Josh MVP Allen, is it?
Josh MVP runner-up Allen, yeah.
Yeah, probably so. But, hey. He's having a great season.
It's a great season.
This is tough, though. I mean, it is tough. This is probably going to be their toughest test over the past 5 weeks or so. Maybe half the season. I'd have to look back. But the Dolphins, with Fitz magic, they have a chance to pull off anything. I mean, I understand that Tua's going to be back under center starting this game. And the Dolphins, they're locked in for a playoff, right?
The Dolphins are not. They are still playing.
Oh yeah, because they're tied with the Browns at this point.
The Browns win and the Dolphins lose. I think they're out, and the Colts need to also win.
That's a bold call for Flores to say, well, we're going to go back to Tua being in the position they're in, because the Browns could pull that off against the Steelers and knock the Dolphins out. So they definitely need to win against one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. Now, I guess it's going to come down to, do the Bills actually sit anyone? They're not up for the bye because of the Chiefs, and it sucks for them because they would have had that second bye this season, but it doesn't exist anymore. So, tough spot to be in. I'm gonna stick with the Bills. I'm gonna assume that all the starters play, but I wouldn't doubt. I wouldn't doubt it if some of the starters sit and the Dolphins take this game somehow.
You mentioned no second bye. That is significant because this AFC is inevitably going to be stacked. Because there is 10-5 teams right now on the bubble of making it. You got the Dolphins, the Browns, and the Colts sitting at 10-5, and one of those teams is not going to make the playoffs, which is crazy to think about, considering the AFC hasn't really had that kind of volume of great teams. But those two that we're talking about here have contributed to that, because they have been bad for a long time and they have become really good all of a sudden. I think you have to start Tua. I think this is exactly what you have Tua for, right? Ryan Fitzpatrick is a good quarterback, but Ryan Fitzpatrick can beat a lot of teams with a good Dolphins team around him, but Tua is there for those situations, because at his best, Tua is a better quarterback than Ryan Fitzpatrick at this point. And the Buffalo Bills are one of the best teams in the league, and if you want to beat them, you have to bring your best. You probably can't expect Ryan Fitzpatrick to do this. Now, it could always happen. He's Fitzmagic after all. I think you have to take your chance of starting your rookie, letting him lead this team into the playoffs. It's your best chance of making a serious push this year. That being said, I will take the Bills to win the game, because they are one of the best teams in the league, and they have a quarterback who has still outside chances of being the MVP. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is in a tough divisional battle this week. I think Aaron Rodgers is currently in the lead, and we'll have an episode, I think, dedicated to that maybe next week, where we talk about awards when the regular season has concluded. But he's still in the running, so he's not going to want to sit, and they're going to play for real. So I will take the Buffalo Bills to beat the Dolphins, but the Dolphins making the playoffs because Mason Rudolph puts 500 yards on the Browns. We have the Seahawks at the 49ers.
Your go.
Oh, it's my go, right. Josh Rosen starts, 600 yards and 5... No, I'm joking. I don't think Josh Rosen's going to start. It seems like it's a bit too much to ask of him to start. CJ Beathard had a good game, beat the Cardinals. No reason not to start him. He just knows the playbook better. They signed Josh Rosen to a one-year contract, which is good. I think they should keep him on the roster, have him at least be the backup next year, have him compete in camp. Just give him a chance. We'll talk about that next year. Seattle should win this game, and since it is close, I have to be pragmatic here, pick with my head over my heart, say Seattle wins the game. They've beaten them before the season. They're going to the playoffs. They've just beat the Rams. They are going to win the division. So Seattle to win.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, I will admit that it was a tough pick, considering this is an 11-4 team facing a 6-9 team. You wouldn't think this would be a tough pick, but it really was, because the Niners are still proving that with their defense and a healthy George Kittle, they can beat teams. Even though it didn't look like that with Kittle out, but with Kittle, they can still win games. Seahawks, they got the win last week, but they had been on a horrible streak there. Their offense looked terrible for a good 2 to 3 games there. Seahawks really, they don't, I guess the Saints are going to get the bye. Is it the Saints or the Packers? I'm looking at the records. No, I guess the Packers, as long as they win, they're going to get the bye. Yeah, so, the Seahawks are out of the bye race. Well, maybe something can happen. I'd have to look at how it breaks down, because if they win this game and then the Packers lose to the Bears, then there's going to be like a jam, a bottleneck right there for that bye. So I guess it's going to come down to strength of schedule at that point. So maybe they have something to play for. And that's what I'll go with. I'm going to go that Russell and the Seahawks get it done over the 49ers. But I think it'll be a tough game, really.
All right, we have the Cardinals at the Rams.
Man, I think this is going to be another tough game. Both these teams are coming off losses in games that they should not have lost. From the way that they had been looking over the past 3 games. So both of these Rams looked good, Cardinals looked good, and then all of a sudden they both look horrible. Maybe they don't want to go through the playoffs. I don't know. But 8-7 versus 9-6 here. One of these teams definitely is not going to make the playoffs, and possibly both of them if this goes the wrong way. This is really tough though. Divisional game. Well, you know what? I'm going to take into account that Jared Goff is not playing because of his broken thumb or whatever, and I'm going to go with the Cardinals to pull out the win here.
I really hate doing it, but I have to agree for the exact same reason. Now, Jared Goff is not a world breaker, but he's the necessary piece. It's like Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco. He's not the MVP, but he's the one who makes a good team potentially a candidate, a contender. So with him out, that's going to be a problem. Now, Kyler Murray also got banged up last game, but I haven't heard any news on him. I'm assuming he's starting. I think he got dropped on his head or something on a sack. So he also took a shot there, but I'm assuming he's playing. The Cardinals are they're one game away from being 8-8 and definitely missing the playoffs. So they're gonna have to put it all down, have to put it on the line and make sure they win this game. I'm gonna say they do, but it's gonna be a close one. So watch out for a lot of surprises there. It's my turn again now with Jacksonville at the Colts. Now on paper this is super simple, and in reality it should also be super simple, with the Colts playing for a playoff spot and the Jaguars being the number 1 overall pick next year. The Colts should easily win this game. I will also, for the sake of our predictions, I will pick them. But I'm not going to say too much, but we're going to get back to this game in the betting advice segment later down the line. But I have the Colts.
Well, I have no choice but to pick the Colts here. We're still in tank for Trevor mode, and I think that's what's going to happen now. The Jets gave up Trevor. I don't know if they received word that Trevor doesn't want to go to the Jets, which that was a rumor floating around. So they're like, well, let's just win a couple or something, just to save a little face from having the star player refuse to come play for us. And maybe he wants to play for the Jags. Who knows? Got to take the Colts. There's not going to be a game. It shouldn't be. Crazy things can happen, but the Colts should win this.
Yeah, I think the era of players refusing to play for teams, it should be over. Don't think anyone's going to pull an Elway there. I think that the money that comes guaranteed with the first overall pick is just too lucrative. You can't pass it up. He's not going back to school no matter what happens. So there's absolutely no way. So we also agree on that one. Next game in that division, we have the Titans at the Texans.
Titans at Texans. Man, both of them coming off losses. The Titans should win this according to their record, but they looked horrible. I mean, I guess we could take weather into account for that game. Tannehill played like garbage, but we didn't even see Derrick Henry get over 100 yards in that game, which is unusual for him, especially this season, because he's been on such a tear. Texans, they've played pretty much exactly like they have all year. They're halfway decent on offense. Their defense doesn't exist anymore. They couldn't stop eggs from rolling off a table. I got to pick the Titans here. Titans on the road. They should win this. There shouldn't be any reason for them to lose.
Yeah, Titans are one of those teams that are tied at that bubble with 10-5, and as weird as it sounds, there is a world where the Titans lose this game and they don't make the playoffs, because the Colts could win the division at 11-5. They're currently tied for the record, and if the Browns win their game and the Dolphins win their game, the Titans are out of the playoffs, which is crazy to think considering how they've always been one of the top teams all year. luckily, they play the Texans. Who the Texans probably right now are the second worst team in the league. Because I don't think the Jets are right. I think the Jets right now would beat the Houston Texans. So I'm going to say the Texans they're done for the year. They're in a rebuild. Yeah. Bill O'Brien went out, and they're going to need to find some answers. They're going to need to rebuild around Deshaun Watson starting next year, and the Titans should absolutely win this game. If they lose this game, they have it in their own hands. If they lose it, they probably don't deserve to make the playoffs. You have to win these kinds of games. Mm-hmm. The Raiders at the Broncos. Me go first, and this I will say this has been the best take of the year. All year for me. So I will brag about this a little bit. The Raiders right now are 7-8. What was my record prediction for the Raiders all year long?
8-8.
8-8. Mediocrity, they are frauds. $100 million for John Gruden over 10 years, one of the worst deals ever. The Raiders are frauds. They're going to go 8-8. They're going to miss the playoffs. They already are missing the playoffs. They can't make it anymore. They're going to beat the Broncos because they're a slightly better team than the Broncos, and the Broncos just stink even more. And because I prophesized it, and I can't possibly be wrong when I'm so close to being so right. So Raiders go 8-8 and miss the playoffs, as it was foretold by yours truly. What do you have to add to that?
I was waiting for you to pick the Broncos. I haven't made up my mind even at this point, because I was just kind of hoping you would pick the Broncos so I could just pick the Raiders.
No, I mean, they have to go 8-8. If they were 8-7, I'd pick the Broncos, of course.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I'm just going to pick whatever he doesn't pick. But and now that I'm thinking about it, can the Broncos actually win this game? I don't even know. Like, the Broncos are so bad right now. They're able to score on offense randomly. Like, some games they could put up 30, and some games they can't get over 15 for some reason, or 14 would be a more appropriate number. But yeah, man, I guess the Raiders should win this. I gotta go with the Raiders.
Okay. Safe
yeah. Yeah, it
I
is.
guess. It's not that big of a difference, honestly. You could pick the Broncos here, be completely justified. I would have done it if the Raiders were 8-7. I could flip a coin.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Another game in that division. Chargers at the Chiefs.
Well, another game that there should be no debate about. The Chiefs are going to win this one easily. Although, I will say, the Chargers have an offense, and they can score on the Chiefs. Obviously, most teams can. Their defense has gotten better throughout the season, but the last couple of games they haven't been great. And the Falcons could have beaten the Chiefs. They could have. It was all on the line. It came down to a missed field goal, and I'm under the assumption that missed field goal was for a draft pick, because really the Falcons could have beaten the Chiefs, and they should have. If you watched that game, you would have thought all along, like, oh my god, the Falcons.
I think they actually told him to like shank it for the pick.
I think so. I mean,
then they could have just taken, like, they could have just played it out, gone for the win, and have him like throw an incomplete pass.
Yeah, true. But at this point, the Falcons, like, I saw them destroy the Bucks for half of a game and then just give them the game, and of course Tom Brady and the refs giving the leeway to Tom Brady as much as possible. But then I saw them come here and have a great chance of beating the Chiefs, and then they just lose it that way. I think they're in it for the pick at this point, and maybe the Chiefs aren't as good as we thought they were, or they're just trying to coast through, because I guess at this point right now they definitely have the bye locked in, because even if they lose one, there's no one else with 2 losses waiting. 3 losses then next in line with the Bills and the Steelers. So, but yeah, the safe pick here is the Chiefs. But I wouldn't be surprised if they make a game out of this, and at some point we're like, oh my god, the Chargers are going to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, that sentence you spoke there, the second to last sentence, is the important one that I'm going to get on. The Chiefs have the first round bye locked in right now. Mm-hmm. And I'll quickly hit on the Falcons thing you said, but I'll make my pick first. I'll take the Chargers in this one. I will take the Chargers because there is no reason for the Chiefs to desperately go out and win this game, by which I mean there is no reason for Patrick Mahomes to play in this game, or at least play all of this game, because you're number one seed. You're going back as a favorite to win the AFC again, and there is no reason to put that on the line. We know the Chargers can take the Chiefs to a close game. Chargers are a much better team than their record, mostly thanks to Justin Herbert, who is going to be probably the Rookie of the Year. We'll talk about that maybe next week. But in terms of quarterbacks, he's one of the best matches for Patrick Mahomes right now because he's been phenomenal in his rookie year. And the Chiefs have no reason to fight for this. I think the Chargers take this. It's going to be one of those divisional upsets. Last second final week because the Chiefs don't have the pressure to make it happen, so the Chargers take it, in my opinion. So about the Falcons thing, you hear that? I don't think that the field goal was missed intentionally, for the simple reason that if you want to lose at that spot, you go for it and you throw an incomplete pass, because that way, if it's the coach's decision, at least he doesn't throw one of his players on the bus, right? Because now everyone's blaming the kicker, so for the loss. So if you go for it on fourth down and you tell Matt Ryan just throw it, like overthrow the guy by just a yard or so, or throw an incomplete pass, then at least the coach is going to face the music for making a bad call, right? So you take that responsibility on yourself if you're
doesn't that
coach
look
there.
contrived though? Because you could have won with the field goal, and people are gonna be like, well, "Why didn't you just go for the field goal? You could have won the game with the field goal." So
yeah, I guess I don't know,
but
I'm having a tough time. I'm having a tough time believing that they would do that, but or that the players would comply. Even like we fought all game to beat the Chiefs. Now, like if I'm Young Wei, I'm going out there. I'm kicking this field goal. I'm winning this game because if I shank this, they're not going to be happy with me.
If I get fired, I get fired.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't believe it. Someone else will sign him if he makes it.
Yeah, true.
So I will take the Chargers in this one here. We have another divisional one. We have all divisional ones, but this one could be very important of importance. Packers at the Bears, and it's I think my turn to go first, right?
Yes, it is.
I will take the Packers because they have Aaron Rodgers, and he's the best player in football. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. What do you have?
That was very insightful. Speaking of that, here's another team that I predicted to go 8-8. So therefore, I have to pick the Packers also because the Bears are going to go 8-8. Like I mean, this would be great. You know, the Bears and the Raiders are the exact same teams, just on opposite sides of the NFL.
And we both were onto one of them.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna pick the Packers. You know, there's no reason for them to lose this.
That's very fair. I actually had thought about that, but yeah, of course, you have the exact same dynamic with the Bears as I do with the Raiders. So I should I be rooting then for the Bears so they're slightly better than 8-8? I don't know. No.
Maybe
they're not winning against Aaron Rodgers. We have the Saints at the Panthers.
Saints at Panthers. The Panthers are horrible, but the Saints could be sitting people. You know, they're kind of locked into where they are. They're not going to get the bye. They're going to have to play the first week. What is at stake for them to win this one? 11-5 definitely makes the playoff, but you can't get the bye. They could just throw this game away and sit. Well, even if you sit Drew Brees, you got Taysom Hill there. So I guess that's another strike in the Saints' favor. And the Panthers are just so bad right now. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater has a starting job next season. Unfortunately, you know, he was given all the chance in the world to come out and show everyone that he could be the starter, but he couldn't hold it together. He looks really bad right now. Going with the Saints to take this one on the road.
All right. I will plug in one thing really quickly. I had Alvin Kamara against me in the finals of our fantasy league, and I looked up. I woke up like as if I somehow telepathically knew something horrible had happened. I woke up in a cold sweat 3 a.m. that night, and this is not a joke because over here in Europe the games are in the middle of the night sometimes, like this one was with the Saints and the Vikings. And I wake up and I just for whatever reason I decide to check what the game result was. Right, so I'm looking at my phone. I'm barely awake. and I see 6 touchdowns for Alvin Kamara, and I'm like, wow, wait. Does the guy have him on his team? Like, doesn't he have him on his team who are playing in a championship? And sure enough, he does. And I have 70 points against me from 2 players, Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook alone. And I'm like, okay, this is done. I won that week. I won the championship still. I outlasted that.
Oh, did you win? I didn't look at it.
I did win the championship.
Did you have Josh Allen?
I did still win it.
Who did you have?
No, he had Josh Allen too.
Oh, wow. He
had
him,
Josh Allen
right?
and Alvin Kamara. And Dalvin Cook.
What was the total? Like 300 points?
I had 270, and I think he had like 255 that week. I also won the week prior, so I had a bit of a buffer, but I actually won that last week even. So
I think I won that one too.
I think you came in third, right?
Yeah.
Came in third in the league. So I just wanted to mention that I beat out Alvin Kamara in
You're
fantasy.
welcome.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'll take it. We have Saints at Panthers. You picked the Saints.
Yes.
Did you pick the Saints? Yeah, you picked the Saints. I have to pick the Saints. Even if Taysom Hill starts, Panthers not that good. I think that this is not the same situation as with the Chiefs and Chargers, where if the Saints sit some starters, they're gonna lose because the Panthers aren't the quality team that the Chargers are. They don't have the upset potential in them, so the Saints should win either way. And then finally, to close it out for another playoff spot, the Washingtons at the Philadelphia Eagles, who, by the way, are already eliminated.
Yes. And that's crazy. A 4-win team wasn't eliminated until week 16. That is an incredible stat.
In fact, they were favored. For most of the season, they were favored to win this division.
Yes, with 4 wins. That is one of the most incredible stats ever. Yeah, I mean, the football team should win this, right? Like, I guess Alex is coming back, hopefully at least. Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins is not coming back.
Exactly, he's out of here. So Kyle, I would say Kyle Trask. The other Kyle, he's not playing. I mean, he's on IR. So if Alex doesn't make it back, who is their starting quarterback?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I saw his name. I have no idea who he is. Like, never heard of him. I don't know where he came from.
What's his name?
I'd have to look it up again. I couldn't remember. I can't even remember what his name was. Okay. It started with an H.
That's dire news. If we're going that far.
Yeah, but I'm hoping Alex is coming back here. If Alex Smith is back, regardless of what Jalen Hurts can do at times, and we've seen it, I think the Washington football team is just an overall better team with Alex Smith there. The defense is better. The quarterback is, better than a middling rookie. Of course, Hurts may be great. We never know. He may be the next Lamar Jackson, or he could be the next Kyler Murray, which is not horrible, but not great. But I got to go with Washington here. I'm really hoping you pick the Eagles, because that would help me out a lot.
Would it?
Yeah.
I don't know if the Washington football team is starting a quarterback that.
Well, yeah. If that happens, it's over.
Also, just get this right. You have a playoff spot on the line. One game to go to make the playoffs. You have all your quarterbacks out with injury concerns, and the one healthy quarterback you have, your first round pick from a year ago, you cut the week before. Tells you everything you need to know of how bad the situation was with Dwayne Haskins. I mean, this is Jamarcus Russell all over again. I'm honestly speechless. Like I didn't like him on the field. Like I had concerns about his actual play. I didn't expect him to ruin it off the field this quickly, but that's the way it goes. Don't expect him to be back anytime soon in a prominent role. That being said, Alex Smith should play. He'll do whatever he can to play because it's for a playoff spot, and they're gonna win. Mostly because the Cowboys aren't allowed to make the playoffs in my perfect world. And also, as I'm looking at the stats, it's interesting to note that they are at exactly 0 net point differential right now. So they have to win the game to be on a positive point differential to be justified as a good team. So Washington wins. I will say this though. Oh yeah, continue.
I was gonna say I have some information on the quarterback.
Okay.
Taylor Heineke.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've heard of him, actually. Yeah, he's been around a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I actually had him confused with the guy who should be starting for the Rams, which is another guy. But, I mean, Tyler Heineke, he came from Old Dominion. Who watched an Old Dominion game?
Well, not a lot of people.
Exactly. But
that's at least a name. That's been in the NFL. We know of him.
Yeah,
that's
the guy from
it suits me with more confidence than other names would.
He's actually from Atlanta, but the Rams he was the one that was the extremely weird name that I'd never heard of. Where is he? You can
Alex Smith will play. They're gonna win.
Yeah, probably so. You can talk though. I'm gonna look up this the Rams.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about because you said you wanted me to pick the Eagles. So I'm leading with 1 point, right? We disagree on 2 games, and in both of those games, I took the big underdog team. I know that I'm gambling with the result of our predictions game, but I don't. That's why I wanted to do the reverse picking. I don't want to win in a boring way. I want to win by 3 points, not 1. And I'm going to win making 2 hero picks, both in the Chargers, who are going to beat the Chiefs, and the Steelers, who are going to beat the Browns for the best game of the year. So I just wanted to mention that I made heroic picks today, and full well knowing that I am setting myself up to lose. But I believe. I truly believe in both of those games. So I'm not doing it for entertainment, not to be the clown. I believe that both those games are going to go the way that I predicted them. Did you find some on the Rams quarterback?
I did. He is the one who is completely unknown, and it is John Wolford. Ever heard of John Wolford?
I have never.
Apparently he played at Wake Forest. Wow. Now, I don't know how he played at Wake. When was he a starter?
I have never. I mean, he must have been a starter if he made it to the NFL. I've never heard of the guy.
Yeah, because I remember Jamie Newman started for... He must have been right before Jamie Newman got there. But, yeah, unless he's an older guy. I mean, I don't watch a lot of the ACC anyway. Yeah. Mostly watch SEC.
Never heard of him.
But,
yeah. Dwayne Haskins is out there. Maybe Sean McVay wants to take a shot. No.
Apparently, he was actually signed to the New York Jets at one time also.
The quarterback for the Rams?
Yeah.
Okay, already forgot his name. Okay, interesting. I've never heard of him, but we'll see how he does. I think we did pretty well in picking the Cardinals.
Oh wow, that's why I didn't know him from Wake Forest. He was there in 2014. So this guy's been floating around in the middle of nowhere for quite a while.
He's probably been jumping from backup to backup.
Yeah, played a little bit in the AAF.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there he is.
Never heard of him. We'll see. Maybe he could perform on the big stage. I don't buy it though.
Maybe.
I'll put my money on it.
We'll see.
Speaking of things I would put my money on though, some betting advice, and this is as a special episode. I only have 1 bet today, but it's going to be a little bit different than the usual ones. I usually make two a week, and I make sensible bets. This week I'm making a very non-sensible bet, but it's high enough. It's high enough expected value that I'm willing to make it. Now, the equity on this bet is not very good. I should say this. This is not solid advice, but the reward is quite high if we are willing to accept the risk. I have the money line on the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the Indianapolis Colts because the Jaguars they've locked their quarterback up. They're picking first overall. They're gonna get Trevor Lawrence. They're gonna be set. It doesn't matter what they do. So now they can stop trying to lose because the Jets are just too good. Jets can't catch up with them in losing. So the Jaguars are free to go out and win this game. Now the Colts have the playoffs on the line, so they should not lose this by any means. But this is potentially also the upset game of the week, and the money line is 9-1. We're putting $5 on the Jaguars to win the game. We're making potentially $40. If too much risk, put $1 on. $1 you can make $9. The spread is 14 points, but I'm taking the money line because I wanna end the season with a splash. Because I didn't make much throughout this season. As a matter of fact, I think over the entirety of the season, I made exactly nothing betting on the NFL because it equaled out every week. Mm-hmm. But So I want to make some profit. I got $5 on the Jacksonville Jaguars to outright beat the Colts. I don't believe it'll happen, but I think it'll happen more than once in 9 times. So I think it's a sensible bet to make.
Get you $45 there, man.
Have to make it.
It's possible.
Have to absolutely make it.
It's very possible, actually.
Had to make it. Also, I didn't like the spreads are really, really tight this week. The Vegas has not given me anything. All the spreads make a lot of sense. I did not see anything exploitable there. What I was looking at. Browns are favored by 10 points. Maybe you could pick the Steelers there.
Here's another factor that could play into that. The Jets play at 1 o'clock. So they will know the Jets' record before the Jaguars game. You know, if the Jets actually pull off this win against the Patriots, the Jaguars could go out there and play their hearts out and win this game.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if the Jets lose, the Jaguars pick first. If they win.
Exactly. Well, even if they lose, but then they'll have the same record.
The Jaguars have the first pick locked in. No matter what happens, they have to pick. If they win, the Jets lose, they still pick first.
I guess it's strength of schedule, huh? Because that would be the same record. But yeah,
they still pick first. So
hey, they could do it. They could.
Might as well have one last showing for the Jaguars before the new era starts, presumably with Trevor Lawrence. We'll get to that. So next week, assuming we're going to have the award prediction show, we'll have to talk about that still, see if that's what we're going to do. But it's playoff time coming up soon, so we're going to be covering that as well. And I'm assuming there's not going to be anything on fantasy this week anymore, because that's over. Or do you want to? Are you having a episode of the Hurry Up Offense planned?
You know, I thought about it, but the only thing I could really tell you about this week is explain to you why Week 17 sucks if you are playing a championship in Week 17, which you really shouldn't. But I do have a league or two that's playing in Week 17, and I have voted for the past 2 years to get that changed because I hate Week 17. So
yeah, that's horrible for fantasy. People are resting their starters. You can't rely on the best players.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the only thing you can learn about this week is if you do have a championship in Week 17, try to get that changed. Or actually, you know what? Leave it for Week 17 because next year we will have 18 weeks and you should be good to go.
Next year, Week 17 is going to be the important one.
Yes, exactly.
That's what it's going to look like. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of The Scoreboard. We're going to see you in the next one. There's not going to be fantasy football, but there was some betting advice. We'll be back with award predictions and coverage of the playoffs. It's going to be big time. Looking forward to it. Should be very, very exciting. Thank you for watching. Drop us a like, and we're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.